Mike was muted. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 1 Minute Breakdowns, where we break down the upcoming UFC card fight by fight in a minute or less. Thank you for this constant support, and especially on the interview with Isaac Bulgarian that popped off. So I appreciate the support, and I appreciate all the live and post post live viewers. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot on the road to 1,000. And let's go ahead and get this card started. First fight on the card, we have Marina Moroz going up against Karine Silva. Moroz is going to be 2 inches taller than Karine, and they both have the same reach at 67 inches. Moroz also going to be the older fighter by 2 years. Now, in this fight, a lot of people, I think this fight is the Twitter talk of the week, and I think Moroz is the mush of the week personally. Too many people are taking this dog shot on Moroz, and yeah, the line has moved, but barely, 20 cents. So I don't see what people are seeing with Moroz necessarily. I know that she already beat Karina Silva, but this was 9 years ago. I think Karine has more of a killer instinct than Moroz. I think she's going to be stronger than Moroz in this matchup, and I think it's a little bit more difficult to beat the same fighter twice. So I think I'm going to go with Karine Silva here to get the finish in round number two via submission. I also just don't like how Moroz is working with Playboy, and that's her main focus at the moment. Next up, shout out to the boys in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Mushroom. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Seba. I appreciate y'all. I know this is very impromptu and very last minute, but got to get it done. Next up, we have Andrea Lee going up against Natalia Silva. Andrea Lee is going to be, that is, 8 years older than Natalia Silva here, 2 inches taller, and then she will also have a 4.5-inch reach advantage in this fight. Natalia Silva is a huge favorite, and we've seen the way she deals with her opponents in the octagon. I mean, her last 3 fights have been insane. But when you look at the matchups, it's been bottom of the barrel competition. And then you look on the other hand, Natalia with the Andrea Lee. Andrea Lee's competition is ridiculous in the UFC. I mean, when you look down the names, I know that a lot of them have been losses. Macy Barber by split, which I don't think she lost that fight. Viviane Araujo, Cynthia Calvillo, Antonina Shevchenko, Roxanne Modafferi. Definitely miles ahead of Natalia Silva's competition. Now, both girls are really good strikers. I do think Andrea Lee can land some takedowns here as well. And at the price, it has to be dog or pass for me. I think the line is pretty wide here, and especially with the intangibles difference, that 4.5 reach advantage, especially in the women's division, is going to mean a lot in this fight. So, give me the fighter with who I think has a stronger schedule and also the intangibles. But yeah, dog or pass for me. Next up, we have Gerald Meerschaert going up against Andrei Petroski. Meerschaert is going to be 3 years older than Petroski here. He's going to be taller by 1 inch and will also have a 4.5-inch reach advantage. We all know what Andrei Petroski brings to the table, and yes, his strength of schedule is horrible compared to Gerald Meerschaert's. But I think Gerald Meerschaert just has not looked the same in a while. Andrei Petroski, I think, is going to be a lot stronger than him, and the first round is going to be, from what I'm predicting, I think Petroski is going to beat him down in the first round. If he gets him out of there, that's yet to be seen. But I think the pressure from Petroski, the wrestling, and the fact that he himself trains at Gracie Philly, he'll be able to defend these submission attempts from Meerschaert. I think he's going to stay safe on the mat, and he possibly could get a knockout here. I'm not ruling that out completely, but I do see a wrestling-based decision victory here for Petroski. If not, it'll be a submission. Next up, we have the first of the two tough finales. Cody Gibson going up against Brad Katona. Tony Gibson is going to be taller by 4 inches here. He's also going to have a 6.5-inch reach advantage. Older fighter by 4 years as well. In this fight, this one is really close because Cody Gibson on the feet, not the best striker, I'll say that, but he is lengthy and does have some pop to his punches. Brad Katona, really solid boxing, and I like his technique and footwork. I also like that Brad can mix in the wrestling here, along with Cody. Both fighters do have that wrestling in the back pocket. So it's going to be a tough one for me to pick a side here. I mean, when it's this close, your rule book says dog or pass. I'm not touching this fight personally, but I do see this playing out really close to a greasy split decision. So maybe a split decision look on this fight will is not a bad look. I was taping this fight the other day and just looking at Cody Gibson's competition as well. Not the best. Same thing with Brad Katona, but Brad Katona was fed to killer's row when he first got to the UFC. So um, I'll pick Brad Katona, but it's a dog or pass spot in my opinion. Next up, we have Kurt Holloway going up against Austin Hubbard. Holloway is going to be the older fighter by 5 years here. He's also going to be the taller fighter by an inch and also have a 2-inch reach advantage. Um, Another close fight, I'll say that. I don't think Austin Hubbard won that matchup personally, but whatever. Austin Hubbard's striking is really good compared to Holloway's. Holloway does have some power though. When Holloway gets in there, he looks to finish fights consistently. And compared to Hubbard, he can be more methodical and more patient with his game plan. I also like that Holloway can bring out the wrestling here. So it just depends on who's successful with their game plan. Obviously, the aggression from Holloway might work against them here because Hubbard's really technical with the way he strikes. So I expect Hubbard to get the decision victory here. Both guys are super tough and hard to finish. So yeah, I think a unanimous decision victory for Austin Hubbard is what we have here in the books. But again, I will not be touching this fight with a 10-foot pole. There's no fucking way. Next up, we have Gregory Rodriguez going up against Dennis Tiuliulin. Rodriguez is going to be the younger fighter by 4 years here. He'll be taller by 2 inches and will be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. We all know what Dennis Tiuliulin brings to the table. He's a brawler, very powerful striker. He'll be all up in your face, and that might serve to a disadvantage here, just given based off of the media day for Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop mentioned something, and he was saying, "I fell in love with my striking and knocking people out too much, and I need to come back to earth and realize what kind of fighter I actually am and utilize the skills I have," which he's hinting at his grappling ability. So that's gonna prove to be really bad for Tiuliulin because Dennis, when it hits the mat, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna get subbed. It looks like this guy hasn't really grappled at all, with all due respect, obviously. But it doesn't look like he's really rolled on the mats or prepared jiu-jitsu in the past. I mean, against against the Iron Turtle, he really just rolled over and laid flat. So I'm gonna have to pick RoboCop here, but to be honest, Tiuliulin by knockout, that's his money line basically. I do think the knockout is live here as long as it stays on the feet because RoboCop's durability is shot for the most part. So I'm gonna have to pick RoboCop, but I do think there is a chance that we see a knockout from Tiuliulin. What is that? Is this Wiz or Crocodile Dundee? The tank top is struggling. Of course it is. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for stopping by. Next up, we have Chris Weidman going up against Brad Tavares. Chris Weidman returning after that gruesome leg injury that he had after kicking Uriah Hall's leg. Absolutely disgusting. And he's going to be the older fighter here by 4 years, will be taller by an inch, and will have a 4-inch reach advantage in this matchup. This one's going to be hard to break down just because, I mean, I can break down how Weidman has looked in the past, but long removed from a pretty much a leg snap in half. We just don't know how he's going to look. But on his best day, he's an elite wrestler, has some decent and serviceable striking, and carries some power. But the one issue is that over the past couple of years, his durability has looked shot, and he just gets hurt by any punch. And Brad Tavares is not really known for his power, but he does bring some volume to the table. It's nothing crazy. And his takedown defense is elite for the division. This guy is one of the hardest to take down. And I think we might see that change here with Chris Weidman if he's able to get those hands locked in. That double leg is nasty. The single leg is nasty. The outside trips. So I think this is going to be playing closer than what the line indicates. Personally, do I want to back a 39-year-old Chris Weidman? Probably not. But also, do I want to back Brad Tavares against anyone at minus 275, minus 280? It's very difficult to get to that price point. So, in my opinion, this is a dog or pass, but I'm passing. Next up, we have Mario Bautista coming in against Damon Blackshear, who is filling in for Cody Garbrandt here. Mario Bautista is going to be a year older. He's going to be at a 1 inch height disadvantage here, and then also he'll be at a 3.2 inch reach disadvantage. Um, Damon Blackshear fought last weekend, for those that didn't know. When you go through a weight cut, you rehydrate, you refeed, and then you get a call on Sunday or Monday. I'm not sure what day it was that he got the call for this fight. After you've rehydrated and fed yourself and post-fight festivities, it's going to be really taxing on your body to cut that weight all the way back down to 135. This is not a catch weight. This is at 135. So I don't know how Damon Blackshear is going to look physically. I don't know how he's going to feel, just given that he's had to make that cut back-to-back weeks. It's really tough. And we saw that happen with Jack Della Maddalena, where he just didn't really look like himself last fight. And it made it look a little bit closer than what it was supposed to. Yeah, Alec brings up a good point. I heard it wasn't until Monday, which makes it even tougher. That's like 5 days. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to side with Mario Bautista here. I think he's a little bit more physical than Damon Blackshear. I do rate his striking a little bit more than Damon's, and I think he's able to find a submission of his own, possibly, but at least he has the skills to stay safe if the takedowns do come for Damon. So, yeah, I can't touch the Blackshear moneyline side. I do understand why people are, but if this was on a full camp, maybe my stance would be a little bit different here. But I'm gonna have to pick Mario Bautista to win this fight. Yeah, it's very difficult not to take the shot on Damon, just given the way that he's been looking over his past couple of fights. But also, let's put things into perspective here. It was Jose Johnson and Luan Lacerda. These guys aren't Mario Bautista. All respect to the gentleman, but it's just the skill level is that much higher. But it should be a fun fight while it lasts. Next up, we have Marlon Vera going up against Pedro Munoz. Cheeto is going to be the younger fighter by 6 years here. He'll be taller by 2 inches and will have a 5.5 inch reach advantage here. A lot of people are have this thought that this fight might go to the distance, and I see why. Both guys are super durable. Pedro Munoz has those nasty calf kicks that will take away from Marlon's power. And there's the durability on, like I said, on both guys is second to none. Iron chins. I just think that Cheeto Vera is gonna find a way to get a finish here. Personally, I think he needs that statement win to propel himself back into that hype conversation, back into like the top 5/title contender conversation here. And I think the fact that Matt O'Malley is fighting in the main event, and that the title, regardless if O'Malley wins or if he loses, the title get vacated. So there's an opportunity. The division is almost wide open at the moment with the injuries too. I think Vera is gonna come out here and put on a striking clinic against Pedro Munoz. Obviously, the leg kicks are still gonna play into effect here, so it's just gonna be a matter of how Cheeto deals with them. But I do think he is the rightful favorite. Maybe the line at the moment is a little bit too wide, but I'm not too sure if Pedro has too much to offer here in terms of the striking. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to bet Cheeto, I recommend betting him after round one. He usually loses round one at a high clip. Really slow starter here. So bet him at round two, and we'll go from there. So that's the way I'm going to be targeting this fight. Let's see. Hearing the same people that pick against Blackshear versus To be honest, dude, it's when people were picking on Lacerda, when they're picking Lacerda against Blackshear, I was puzzled. Like I really did not know what people were seeing in that matchup specifically, and what Lacerda brought to the table. Because they were talking about Damon Blackshear like the guy didn't have any grappling experience at all, and they're saying Lacerda's gonna run through him on the mat and then sub him. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you guys really think it's that serious? and we got that nice dog shot cash on Damon Blackshear. That was a good one. Yes, sir. I do expect the Ecuadorian to get the W this weekend. But like I said, I'm targeting it after round one. He usually drops the round one. Next up, we have another short notice replacement, Neil Magny coming in on short notice to fight Ian Gary here. Neil Magny is going to be 11 years older than Ian Gary, and we all know about that 10-year plus age gap fade spot. 75%, I think it is, for the younger fighter, something like that. They're both 6'3", and then Neil Magny is going to have 6 inches of reach on Ian Gary. So I just think this is a really easy fight to break down. If Neil Magny is able to hold Ian Gary against the cage and clinch up with him, make this a really grimy and dirty fight, I think Magny has the possibility of pulling off an upset. I just don't see that happening against a much younger fighter here with someone who brings a certain skill set to the table. Like Ian Gary, he's a lot faster than Magny at this point in their careers. I think we can say that. The striking is going to be levels ahead of Magny's at this point in their career as well. When Magny last fought against Philip Rowe, there were some parts in that striking conversation where Philip Rowe was touching up Magny, and the reactions that I was seeing were not the best. The speed on the return was really slow, and it just looked like when Philip Rowe was on his striking, on his game, Magny wasn't able to really touch him or land with any like effective power. I think Ian Gary can pose a similar threat, if not a more dangerous threat than Phil Rowe here. He's faster than Rowe, definitely a better striker than Phil Rowe here, and I just like Ian Gary in this matchup a lot. I think this is just a really tough spot for Magny to fill in on short notice, let alone. And with all the extra antics and added hype to the fight, I think Gary is locked in here, and I think he's probably going to win this inside the distance. A lot of people are on the sub. I can see it happening, but I really think it's going to be a knockout and or like a TKO. So give me Ian Gary here, and that's not a surprise. He's minus 500 favorite for God's sake. Next up, we have another big favorite, Weili Zhang going up against Amanda Lemos. Weili Zhang is going to be the younger fighter by 2 years. They're both the same height at 5'4", and then she'll be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. I mean, I think this fight's binary in a sense where it's Amanda Lemos's chance to get a win via knockout in the first or second round. But if it goes past that second, we've seen Amanda Lemos gas really hard, and when she gasses, you start to see a little bit of that quit in her. So if she wants to get this done, I think it's round one or round two. But Weili is, I think, in a category of her own. Too fast for the division, too savvy in the striking, and can land the takedowns herself. We saw how many takedowns she landed against Rose. I just think Weili's in a level of her own in this division, and I don't think she'll be touched for a while. Give me Weili Zhang here. Also a big favorite. No surprise. Bring out the balloons. Weili Zhang, parlay piece or some shit. But yeah, I really like Weili here. I think she gets it done inside the distance as well. Don't forget this is a 5-round fight. But yeah, I like Weili a lot in this spot. But round one, round two could be a threat. And last but not least, we have Aljamain Sterling going up against Sean O'Malley. Aljamain Sterling is the champion here. It's his last fight at bantamweight as well. He'll be moving up to featherweight, and he'll be the older fighter by 6 years. He'll be the shorter fighter by 4 inches, and will be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Another fight where I think it's pretty binary. If this stays on the feet, I think O'Malley is the better striker. I'm not going to say by a wide margin, but he will be the better striker, faster in this matchup. But then if Aljamain is able to find the takedowns, I just think it's going to be a nightmare for O'Malley here. I'm not going to say it's one takedown and that's it, and Sterling finds the back and rear naked chokes him, but Sterling's grappling's on another level. And I have been a guy that has not been too high on Sterling, but he keeps proving me wrong, and I'm starting to come around and really realize the skill and potential that this guy brings to the table. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Aljamain Sterling here. I do think he finds the wrestling, and I do think he finds that rear naked choke here. If not, he'll ride the back like he did against Peter Yan and find a decision win. He'll vacate the belt, move up to featherweight, where nobody will beat Alex Volkanovski. You hear it here first. But yeah, I do think Sterling wins this matchup at a high clip. But O'Malley KO, I think, is essentially his money line, in my opinion. So don't play the money line, I'd play the KO. But yeah, guys, that is the end of this breakdown. Thank you so much for showing up on an early Friday morning. It was 8:45 in the morning when I started here, so I appreciate you guys. If you can help me out with a like and a comment, I would much appreciate it. I don't know why I froze there. It's too early for this. But thanks again, and good luck tomorrow. All my bets are already posted on Bet MMA Tips. So if you guys want some for PFL, KSW, or the UFC event tomorrow, I have them all up. But yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace.